Hi, I'm Lyn Christian from Soul Salt, and we're going to talk about 3 ways to plug into your deep identity and your power. And the first one has to do with beliefs. So we know a lot about beliefs. We know that a belief can be formed within us from a very early age based on the biases, based on the opinions, based on the perceptions and the beliefs of people around us. As we grow older, we see evidence of things that may conflict with our beliefs. And so the first element of plugging into your power is to examine and re-examine and maybe even test your beliefs. There's nothing more refreshing today in the lives of my clients and myself than to hear and feel words that are linked to a belief system that comes from the salt of your own soul. Instead of regurgitating a belief or an idea or a bias that maybe you were taught or had rote experiences that ingrained and imprinted that belief. So the first invitation for plugging into your own power is to examine your beliefs. Maybe sit down with a piece of paper and sketch out, what do I believe? And look for evidence that supports each belief. And even more importantly, when you go about your daily life, when you speak of these beliefs, do they feel like they're spilling out of you because somehow they were placed into you? Or do they feel like they're bubbling up from the salt of your soul and they're authentic to you? So the first way to plug into personal power is to audit your beliefs and start to move away and change those beliefs that no longer suit you, that don't come from within, but are extracted from your environment and maybe imposed upon you. And now you can see that you would like to change those. Let's go to the second part of owning your own power. This is about being aware of strength. And when I talk about strength, I'm not talking about how much you can lift at a gym or how much you can endure with other people. We're talking about innate talents and skills. We're talking about things that maybe you can only pick up because sometimes we're biased and we have beliefs against ourselves, that those things that we do so well, we assume other people can do them just as well. But when you hear a few things, when you hear someone say, oh, how did you do it so well? I'd like to be able to do it like you. Pay attention. When you hear somebody say, you know what, I'm going to do this part, you do that, you're better at that than I am. Pay attention. When you get feedback that somebody says, I think you're really good at that, pay attention. Sometimes we don't know who we are and what our strengths are until we hear other people reflecting them to us. So one of the keys is to listen to the environment and see when it reflects back to you, something that you can do with some precision, some effortlessness, and something with some efficiency, or it has some efficacy to it. Those would be your strengths. And one way to plug into your power is not to be everything to everyone, but to take what you know you can do day in and day out, that you enjoy doing, that's easy for you, that adds value, and play that role. Plugging into our power sometimes means we play from strength and let other people play from strength. And we unite with those people and co-create solutions together. And we don't have to be everything in every situation to everyone. Now, the next thing I'm going to ask you to do is to monitor your focus. Plugging into our power often comes from being able to focus. And there's nothing more upsetting sometimes to me, and maybe you can relate to this, than needing to perform well and being frazzled and not being able to be present. So I'm going to give you a quick reorienting exercise. It's something that I picked up from a woman named Lyn, and she teaches this in her nervous system regulation classes. I've kind of adapted it so I can use it either when I'm out fencing or when I'm with a situation and I want to calm down with a client, or if I'm having an upset with a family member. So here it is. Notice something in your environment. Look off to the distance, notice something, and put your gaze on that. Now, while you're gazing on that, notice your breath. and breathe with that object just for a moment until I give you a cue to do something different. So look at the object and breathe with it and become fully present. And then move your eyes to another object in the room and notice if you brought your breath with you. And if you didn't, bring your breath with you, focus on that object, and breathe with that object and be very present just for a moment. And bringing your breath with you, go to a third object in the room, gaze at that, bring your breath, stay present, and breathe with that object for another moment. Now, bringing your breath, come back to the original object. Take a deep breath. Look at your toes and fingers so you're present again. And notice how your autonomic nervous system, the part of you that can go to sympathetic and want to fight or run away, or can downtrain to parasympathetic, which wants to freeze or appease or just brush things under the carpet. Notice how those became more regulated and you got more of a sine wave, which is more of the normal range for our heart rate and our autonomic nervous system so that we can focus. Today, we've covered 3 things in this mini lesson of how to plug into your power. One was about noticing your beliefs and reevaluating those so that you can actually speak and feel those elements of deep belief that are true to you and not be living or acting from beliefs that belong to someone else. We also gave you some clues as how you can notice what your strengths are and to encourage you to play from those strengths because there is power, world-class power in your use of your own strengths as you team up with other people as they are using their strengths. And then finally, focus. It's really hard to plug into power when you feel frazzled, when you feel upset. So we use the autonomic nervous system exercise to reorient you, get out of the back of the brain where cortisol and adrenaline might be, and move into where serotonin, the hormone of well-being that is usually generated by the gut brain, and the prefrontal cortex, which can give us dopamine and oxytocin, where we can be at our best. I hope this has been useful for you to plug into your personal power. I'm Lyn Christian. If you found this useful, you may want to follow me or Soul Salt, my company, on Instagram or Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel called Soul Salt Coaching, all one word. And you might want to go out to soulsalt.com, subscribe to our newsletter. Thanks for being with me today.